What's up, guys? What? You don't know who I am? It's me, Wilbur Robinson, from the classical hit film Meet the Robinsons. I came all the way from the future just to tell you guys that in the future, Meet the Robinsons has now a cult following and is the best movie of all time, says a lot of people. So I'm telling you to go watch Meet the Robinsons, the movie that I starred in, because in 20, 30 years you can say I watched that movie before you guys. So watch it now. You've been warned. Woo! Future sounds, edit in, post, please. Thank you, Wilbur Robinson, for giving that to us. Thanks for coming on. This man has been at my house since 1 a.m. begging me to review Meet the Robinsons, or else he will. So if you didn't already know, Meet the Robinsons is a 2007 Back to the Future prequel starring young Doc Brown when he was 12 years old, lanky Jimmy Neutron, that kid from The Sandlot, but if he did drugs, and much more.
That's a good buzz.
Really weird stuff that we'll get into. But is it ever so underrated? And that's why I'm here to remind you about Meet the Robinsons. Please play the cool intro now. Walt Disney Animation Studios was making hit after hit. Beauty and the Beast? Yeah, you just made $400 million. And while you're at it, here's an Oscar nomination. Lion King? Yeah, you're now like the best movie ever? I'm not quite sure what to do with these guys. With 3D animation movies dominating the game in the early 2000s because of the rise of Pixar, Disney had to step it up a little and make the most awkward transition into 3D animated movies. Disney is now big in 3D animation, but back in 2007, that was the complete opposite, with Meet the Robinsons extremely underperforming. And sure, Meet the Robinsons isn't one of the best Disney animated movies out there, but it's one of the best Disney animated comedies out there, and it just brings so much creativity and so much just wholesome stuff that it can't be ignored, alright? Meet the Parents from the Future starts out with a baby being dropped off at an orphanage. Cut to 12 years later, and we got this boy who lives there named Lewis with his roommate, who's his whole character is baseball. And we see Lewis, he's making some crazy invention like the little crazy kid he is, because the only way Lewis thinks he'll get adopted is if he shows them a crazy cool invention. The crazy cool invention that Lewis creates ends up being a peanut butter and jelly mixer machine, which, if you think about it, is extremely useful. But these parents don't think so, because when Lewis uses it, it malfunctions, creating to explode, and this guy has allergic reaction. And technically, it's not my guy Lewis's fault, because when Dollar Store Harry Potter has a peanut butter gun pointed at your face, what do? You say, hey, I have allergic reaction to peanut butter. But this guy, I don't know what he's doing. He's not saying anything. So I guess just even looking at peanut butter, it gives this guy like a panic attack.
Peanut butter. Peanut butter.
And they're like, hey, that invention that kid made, he could be the next Albert Einstein, which he basically turns out to be in the future. But they're like,
yeah, so he gave my husband allergic reaction, so no adoption for you.
Lewis is pretty discouraged because he's not getting adopted, and he knows he's not going to get adopted, so he decides, hey, why not make a memory scanning machine, because I have a memory of my mother, and that way I can trace her and find my mom, and she'll adopt me. And so then we get this actually wholesome montage of just Lewis trying to make this invention, and we see all the creativity and the passion he has for making this invention, and because of that, he's staying up late. His roommate, he's pretty sleep deprived, but for some reason, Lewis, he's totally fine. But that doesn't matter because Lewis, he doesn't care if he got exactly 0.3 hours of sleep last night because he is hyped for the science fair. In the science fair, we got friggin' frogs, we got ants, we got my guy Movie Magic with Terry, and most importantly, we got Lewis. He's probably gonna find his mom and maybe get an A+ on this science fair. This is also when the movie goes from good to great, with having some really great character introductions, with us meeting this character Wilbur, who you see brings so much energy to the film and continues to bring energy throughout the film with not only his sharp, witty dialogue, perfectly executed by his voice acting, but he's also animated to have so many quick movements, basically squirrel-like. We also get introduced to Bowler Hat Dude, who seems like the stereotypical Disney villain, but I'm glad that Disney took the route of basically parodying the stereotypical Disney villain, with Bowler Hat Dude throughout the whole movie just failing at being a villain. Wilbur explains to Lewis that he's from the future, and for a huge nerd like Lewis himself, I'm genuinely shocked that this guy isn't even intrigued in the fact that lanky Jimmy Neutron could possibly be from the future. We cut to Bowler Hat Dude, who's doing some evil, villainous stuff, and he's wrecking Lewis's invention, which leads to
insert scene of main protagonist screwing up, creating more unfortunate events to occur to secondary characters, making main protagonists unlikable to secondary characters.
Not only are the students and teachers unhappy with the way Lewis's invention turned out, but lanky Jimmy Neutron as well, with him going as far as pushing him off a rooftop. But that's just because he wanted him to go to the future. That's the wrong theme song. The futuristic world that they create is just amazing, with the present day in the film having the colors all muted, but with the future they purposely have the opposite, having all these bright colors and also having some really cool designs for the building that feel really inspired by the Jetsons. Now with the memory scanner, it's in the hands of the Bowler Hat Dude, who then gives us more proof that he is one of the funniest characters in Disney animated movie history. That's right, just with his uncertainty on explaining the machine and the uncertainty he has in his plan overall, just creates some hilariously awkward scenes, which makes Bowler Hat Dude basically the OG Megamind. Sadly, a lot of the film isn't dedicated to Bowler Hat Dude and him just screwing up his plans, but we see the Robinson family. A lot of it is just, haha, look how funnier this guy is. He has a weird specific characteristic. Let's show that for 2 seconds. Where does that go? It goes nowhere.
I never would have made my fireproof pants. Still working out the kinks.
So while we see the Robinson family delivering terrible, cringy jokes because their humor can't even live up to the epic comedic genius of Bowler Hat Dude, who needs to kidnap Lewis so then he can turn on the memory scanner machine, he then has his bowler hat, and for some reason the bowler hat can like give birth to like a baby bowler hat, and no one ever questions this. And so the baby bowler hat can somehow mind control the frogs. What I'm really confused about is the baby bowler hat, if it really sticks on to the frog's head, it mind controls it, but the bowler hat that Bowler Hat Dude wears, is he being mind controlled? Like, is it really stuck on his head? Or if it's just kind of on his head, it doesn't count as being mind controlled? I don't know. These things should be explained in the movie, and will be, because that's why I'm presenting my movie, Meet the Robinsons 2. See, with Meet the Robinsons 2, we don't have any characters, only for Bowler Hat Dude, and he is voiced by 3 actors, Danny DeVito, Danny Glover, and Hugh Jackman. They all bring their talent because we're seeing Bowler Hat Dude in his 3 stages. It's basically boyhood, moonlight, combined. So while bowler hatless dude and his mind-controlled frogs are trying to kidnap Louis and the family, they're having a nice spaghetti dinner. And for some reason, when they're finished, they think, hey, you know what goes really well with spaghetti dinner? Peanut butter sandwiches. No, it doesn't. And they use the peanut butter and jelly mixer. But, ho-ho, it's jammed. Did Louis use it? Louis, as the screw-up he is, wants to keep his screw-up streak with not only 1 screw-up, 2, 3, but now 4 screw-ups. With this one resulting him in basically tears because he wanted that PB&J sandwich, but the Robinsons decide to cheer him up with the most subtle message in the whole film.
Why didn't you tell me you had a pet dinosaur?
Because we don't.
What are you talking about? He's standing right here.
Yeah, I have no clue why they added that in there, because it doesn't have any impact on the overall film. Sure, it takes advantage of using the family's weirdness, using their crazy weird inventions to stop the T-Rex, and we do get a fun little action scene, but it's just over with in a few minutes with the T-Rex just falling asleep. After T-Rex goes nighty-night, the Robinsons run up to... Are his knees broken? The Robinsons congratulate Louis on the epic defeat of the dinosaur, and they're like, Louis, man, you are like the coolest kid we know. And Louis is like, yeah, I'm the coolest kid that you know that doesn't have any parents. The Robinsons decide, hey, how about we adopt you? And that gets Louis excited, but Wilbur does not want Louis living in his house. So Wilbur flicks off the hat, and the Robinsons, they're actually against tall-haired people, and so they decide, we can't adopt you, Louis. Louis then feels extremely discriminated, but Bowler Hat Dude is just trying to help a guy out, take us to his mom from the past. Turns out you shouldn't trust this guy because he just ties up Louis. And the writers decide to pull a double Shyamalan plot twist on us, with us finding out that Louis is Wilbur's dad, and Bowler Hat Dude doesn't shower and change his clothes, but he's also Goob. We learned that because Louis was doing a science invention thing and Goob couldn't get enough sleep, he actually lost the biggest catch of the baseball game, making his whole team lose. Because of that, he's not getting adopted. And what? It's the peanut butter guy. But what? He's with a different wife? And she's the receptionist from the beginning? And the wife, she was waiting to adopt Louis, but with another guy. This makes no sense. After that sad backstory, we get the epic finale, but it feels extremely rushed in the time that it has. Sure, it has some cool ideas with us finding out that the bowler hats are actually evil, and they were Louis's inventions all along. And it just ends with Louis saying, I'm not inventing you, because the whole movie was just family reunion in the future. We don't get these cool ideas. I think those ideas could just really create some more creative scenes. After that whole big finale, Louis goes back to the past, to the science fair, and oh no. It's the peanut butter guy. He's back for revenge. But the memory scanner works for Louis, and that gets Louis adopted. And that's Meet the Robinsons, a completely wholesome and extremely underrated film that will make you laugh, cry, and just question everything in this movie. Like, if Wilbur Robinson didn't tell Louis to keep moving forward, would he use that motto in the future? And what was the point of the octopus? Why is there an octopus running around the house? And most importantly, why does the peanut butter guy and the receptionist show up multiple times in this movie? Are they supposed to be the same people, or were the animators just so rushed that they had to just duplicate those people? And you might think the whole message of the film is keep moving forward, which is a nice message for all kids to learn. But if you think about it, the real message of this film is if you do something successful, you will be adopted. With Louis, He screws up that peanut butter machine, doesn't get adopted. But when he creates a memory scanner, people just come out of nowhere and say, hey, let's adopt you. And Goob, when he doesn't get that big baseball catch, doesn't get adopted. But when he makes the catch at the end, thankfully, it seems like he's about to get adopted. So, what's up with that, Disney? Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like and comment so then the algorithm boosts this video up, and comment what your thoughts on Meet the Robinsons are. Make sure you subscribe so then you don't miss any of these videos. And time to end the video.